Welcome to week 2. This week, our topics include reviewing the literature and initial planning of the project. This week's learning outcomes include define and utilize research terms appropriately, compare and contrast the characteristics of quantitative and qualitative research methods, and describe ways that each can be used for action research to impact school change for school improvement. Explain ways that professional reflection can be used throughout the action research process. Read, analyze, interpret, and evaluate educational research studies and journal articles for their relevancy to a teaching, learning, and/or educational administration problem of interest. Identify and articulate research problems that can be studied by a graduate student and articulate primary and secondary research questions. Plan and design the process of implementing an action research study, and plan and write a research proposal, which are chapters 1 through 3, in accordance with the required CUI structure for an action research paper, consistent with the format of the American Psychological Association. Your readings this week include chapters 3 and 4 from the Hendricks text. Chapter 3 is Connecting Theory and Action, Reviewing the Literature, and Chapter 4, Initial Planning of the Action Research Study. There's a link to the capstone project design to gain IRB approval available here. And this week's learning module is available by following the link for play.
Welcome to Module 2.
So during week 2, students should be joining a research interest group of 2 to 3 students per group in finalizing your initial research plans. During discussion this week, we'll talk about literature reviews. You'll continue your search using Concordia's online library databases. And the discussion board has 2 components. After reading chapter 3 of your text and viewing the media clip above, you will include the topics you want to include in your literature review in the literature review matrix. The individual piece of this discussion board will be in the form of each student individually showing the topics they intend to research. So you're going to read and respond to the discussion thread. Your initial response is due Thursday, and your 2 peer responses are due by Sunday. Over the course of EDU 580, there will be 3 group progress checks. Once you have formed your research groups, you will have access to a discussion board where you can post your group progress. Alternatively, if you would like to schedule a Collaborate virtual live meeting with me and your group members, we can do so by selecting a common time and meeting for 15 to 20 minutes. You'll get 10 points for actively participating in either the group discussion board or the live meeting. You will want to work with your groups to determine which way your group will want to report your progress. Either way, you need to complete your live virtual meeting or your Blackboard posts by Sunday at the end of week 2. Now, there are several deliverables due at the end of this week. The first is you should post your certificate of completion from either your NIH or your city training. There is also the initial planning. This is assignment number 1, and it will be a group submission. So only one of you will need to submit it. It will show up for all the members in your course. Now, assignment number 2, which is the library research review, will be due at a date to be determined. Concordia Library will schedule the library session, and then assignment number 2 will be due the week of that session. So week 2 is a big week. You will have formed your discussion groups, your research groups, and you will have launched your research by completing the library session and completing assignments 1 and posting your NIH certificate. As always, if you have questions, don't hesitate to contact me.